This is Brother Teacher. Do you know what the word jurisdiction is and what it means? Do you really? You see, I'm certain that you may have heard this word used casually in law many times. You may have seen a police officer from one community or one city travel to another city. And you say, well, this police is from Michigan and they're in Atlanta. Or this police is from Ohio and they're in Indiana, or vice versa. Why are they here? They're out of their jurisdiction. So, just humor me for a moment. Can a police officer from Michigan patrol in Indiana? No. The same is true with the Indiana police. They can't patrol and perform their duties in Michigan. Why? They're out of jurisdiction. They're out of their scope of control. That's the key word, control. Jurisdiction means someone's control over you. Does another man have jurisdiction or control over you? You the person, you the human being, you the man or the woman. I'm asking you that question now. Do they? And if they do have control over you, what gives them control? Why do they have control or jurisdiction over you? Let me tell you this. In a civilized world, if you will, or society, there are governing laws that should be considered common to all men. You shouldn't steal your neighbor's property. You shouldn't destroy your neighbor's plants in his yard. You shouldn't break out your neighbor's windows playing ball. You shouldn't rob your neighbor just in general, or even do harm to your neighbor physically. That's called law, or breaking the law. You see, there's only two actual laws that underneath these two laws follow all laws, or should. And those laws are this. If you harm another human being, you've committed a crime. That is a crime against another human being. You have harmed them. You created injury to that individual. If you destroy someone else's property, you have caused that person harm as well. In a sense, you've damaged their property, thereby they have to replace it or repair it or whatever the case is. So that's the second crime or law that you have broken. Anything else has to fall in line with those two things. When you break those two laws, when you commit these two so-called crimes, as I pointed out, this is the only time that another human being or a group of human beings can come together and summons you to a place called commonly court. So when you go to court, you have to answer to these issues of harming this human being or damaging this human being's property. This is when that court has jurisdiction or control over you. If you throw a piece of paper on the ground, in actuality, it's not a crime because you have not damaged anyone or any property. Is it unethical or wrong to throw trash on the ground and to pollute the earth? Of course it's not good. It's not a good thing. It's bad. But there's nothing that deserves a financial penalty or time in jail or prison for throwing trash on the ground. The same is true if you spit on the ground. Let's say you have a bad cold and you just have to spit and you happen to be out of doors and you spit on the ground. Some people will say, well, that's a crime in some states, some cities, some places. Did you harm anyone? No, you didn't. Did you destroy some property? No, you did not. So no one has any reason to bring you into court again and say that you've committed an actual crime, because you did not. So what if you cross the street against a light and the light says don't walk and you walk anyway? Some would say that's called jaywalking or crossing against the light, and that's a penalty enforced by a fine. Did you really commit a crime? Should you really be brought into court to pay a fee for going against the light? Let's say there's no traffic, there's no cars around, and you do the same thing. Have you harmed anyone or damaged any property? No, you have not. So no one can take jurisdiction over you. Ethically, morally, they can't. That's a different topic or subject, because what that really is a system of codes and regulations and policies that you have broken, and they penalize you financially. So getting back to jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is another man's power over you or control over you, another human being. No one controls us. No one has any authority or power over us. Anytime a man can take power over you is only, and I do say again, only when you have harmed another man or his or her property. That's it. That's jurisdiction in a nutshell. One's control, or a human being's control over another human being. If you have done that human being no harm, then they have no jurisdiction or power over you. So at the end of the day, we all are self-governed. We control ourselves. We are free, living, moving human beings that have been endowed by the Creator with many rights that are natural, that no other human being can take away from us. And we should never give those rights away, because we were born with them. And this is what makes us sovereign. Not me, not you, but all of us are born sovereign, self-governing. That's it. And that's all. That's jurisdiction.